Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Lauren House and I am the hostess of Beyond the House. We are on the Social Nostra network and we truly have something for everybody here. So go check out the network and go see everything from baseball to inspiration stories to paparazzi stuff. I mean, we just have it all. So go check it out. And thank you for being here today. So today I wanted to discuss, which I don't think there's anything new in here, but I just think they serve as really good reminders for sellers. Sellers tips. I think there's a lot that goes on when you're selling your house and occupying the property, which is what this video is for. So this video is going to go over 5, maybe 6, let's see how many I get through, tips to figure out how to make your house a little bit more appealing and how to make it a little bit easier for you. As a seller, your main goal, other than to net as much money as you can from a buyer, is to make sure that your house is completely neutral. You want people to walk in the house, be able to see themselves, their family, everything living in that space. So these few items that I'm going to give you are going to just serve, again, as reminders to take into consideration as you put your home on the market and as you start with showings and start going through the process. If your agent, and you're not working with me, doesn't say these things, that's where this video comes into play. Maybe bring it up and see how they feel. These are things that I have noticed and things that I have heard from clients making comments in the past. So number 1, which is the catalyst for this entire video, is we are in December. Do not, absolutely do not take your listing photos, which are permanent on the internet, with your Christmas decorations in the photos. There is nothing worse than January coming. You have a new year, you have a clean slate. People are out of Christmas, they're Christmased out, and you walk into a new year and you're like ready to go and you're looking through photos and it just screams, okay, this house is old because it's been on the market since December and there's a good chance it could be on the market since November, considering people start decorating for Christmas in November, right after Halloween. So whether it's Halloween decorations, whether it's Christmas decorations, Easter, 4th of July, like whatever holiday it is, just keep in mind that those photos live on the internet. And as soon as you're out of that short few weeks of that holiday, your pictures will look old and dated, which in turn will make people think that something is wrong with the house. On the other hand, if you want to be proactive, you could take 2 sets of photos, 1 set of photos with the Christmas decorations up, and then 1 set of photos for when January comes. And the reason I say that is because there is something to it when you're looking through the photos. It's December, you see Christmas decorations up, you've got the Christmas tree up, and it makes you feel like, wow, like that home is warm and it's cozy and I could see my family there. And there's like an even deeper layer of a buyer connecting with the house when the decorations are up. The problem arrives when January arrives. That's when it just becomes too much. And I don't think that people think that far in advance, because I know when I see it, it's like, okay, this house has been on the market for a while. And I have clients that laugh and they say, why didn't they take pictures without their Christmas decorations up? It just automatically dates the house. Dates the listing, I should say, which is why I'm in here today and not my family room, because I have all my Christmas decorations out there. So I do practice what I preach. Let's start there. Number 2 along these lines would be to depersonalize. Again, if your goal is to sell the house, you want it to look like a model home. It's not going to look like a model home. It's going to look very much lived in. If you have your family photos up, if you have calendars up, if you have your kids' names on the walls. And these are all such great things. And I know that as a seller, like you have your memories there of everything, of good and bad, I should say, all these different types of memories that you have. So you've made this house, which is the shell, into your home, which is a feeling. And now to sell it, you have to undo the home feeling and turn it back into a house, which is just simply the shell, so that people can walk in and say, this works for me. Because I can promise you, after being through thousands of homes, that walking in and just seeing like a huge wall of people's personal photos, you get distracted and you start looking at it and you're wondering who lives here. You're wondering why they're moving. You're wondering what made them move there in the first place. And then if the house is ugly or if it's dirty or if it's beautiful and it looks staged, like you just are wondering who lives here because of all of the information you are gathering as the buyer walking through this house. So honestly, it's a D word. It's a distraction. Do not let anything personal sit out, which brings me into my third one, which is don't leave any valuables out. When you leave valuables out, especially during an open house, I'm going to say, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, I just want to be honest with people. You have your home with all of your items in it open to the public. And we have no idea who is trafficking in and out. So yes, they can go to Facebook and see who you are. Yes, they can go and find your address because it is public record. But to go through somebody's home, you don't know who is going to be in and out. So whether it's sentimental value or monetary value, even if it's something that you just like and you just don't want it out, don't put it like in a cupboard or stick it in a drawer. People go through those things. They open everything. They want to see if it's soft closing. They want to see how big it is, how deep it is, how shallow it is, if it's a drawer. Like you just have so many questions when you're buying a house. I'm just saying you have to be smart. You're opening your house to the public. So just something to think about, planting a seed, just something to take into consideration when you put your house on the market. It's something I always tell my sellers, anything that you find important to you in any way, shape, or form, put it away, make sure it's not seen, and put it in a safe place. Okay, number 4. The interior is just as important as the exterior. And maybe I should have said that backwards. So the curb appeal, which I have a video on that. So if you have questions on curb appeal, you can go watch that video. But just in a quick overview, we get so focused on making sure that the inside of the house is perfect. But that's not the case. The inside of the house is just as important as I guess I should say it backwards. The exterior is just as important as the interior. And I say it in that way because what do you do in order to get into the house? You have to drive up, you have to walk up the driveway, you have to go through the front porch. Maybe you're going through the garage, depending on how the access is, but most likely you're going through the front. So to have dead grass and cobwebs and dirty windows and like old paint chipping off, that is going to deter people, A, and B, they're going to feel overwhelmed because that's a lot of work you have to take on, even if the inside is pristine and it's been fully updated. You've got today's colors, styles, trends, you've got new roof, new HVAC, the pool's been updated, whatever it is. If that exterior walking up, it just kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies and makes you feel like this homeowner doesn't take care of the house. So if they're not taking care of the exterior and the curb appeal, which is by far the most important thing as you walk up and approach a house, then what do you think the inside is going to be like? What do you think the guts of the house, the things that you can't see? Do they have their HVAC serviced regularly? Do they have their pool serviced regularly? Do they have whatever it is to keep the house up and maintained and in well working order? These are just all things that come into play. So I do believe that, I know it gets expensive because the exterior can be just as expensive as the interior, but I do think that if it's something that will help you sell the house faster, get a higher price, and almost like eliminate the negative feedback about that, then I think that it would be worth it to put a little bit of money into the curb appeal. Number 5 is going to be live lightly. And what I mean by this is declutter. Kind of goes into depersonalizing, but it's totally different. Declutter is like a bookshelf that just has a ton of shit in it, and it needs to be prettier, if you will. And the best way to go about this is actually to take a photo of your countertops, of your closet, of, an area that might have like a lot of stuff, even if it's like kids' toys. Take a photo of it and see how it makes you feel. Because in the photo, which is the first impression that we make on the buyers, that's where you can actually see, okay, like this needs to be organized, this needs to go away, this doesn't make sense. So when you are a buyer and you're going to houses, you do notice that countertops in the kitchen are clean. Like there's not even paper towels out. And sometimes people say, how do people live this clean? And I'm like, it's not. It's all under the cabinets. And it's okay if the cabinets are a little bit messy, but it's not okay if the countertops are messy. Try not to have any dishes in the sink. Put everything away that's on the counters, or at least minimize it so that you walk in and it feels clean and spacious, and there's nothing that can catch your eye. Because again, once you, as a potential buyer, once you start walking through a house and you just find like these little clutter things, it just gives you this feeling of like, I don't really want to buy this house or move into this house where this person was like a hoarder or they were dirty. And I know you can clean it all. I know it can be moved out, but a lot of people have a hard time seeing past that, which is why I'm suggesting this. And the other point to live lightly is going to be like, have a cabinet or drawer with like a kit in it. So it's like a cleaning kit. If your agent calls and says, hey, we have a showing in an hour, just clean up as you go. Do your dishes after you eat, put them in the dishwasher, and then have this little kit of Clorox wipes and spray down the mirror and just stuff so that you can easily clean if there is a last minute showing. So you go straight to your cabinet with the kit, you get it out, you whoosh, 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 and then you can put it away and it looks good. And you've already decluttered, therefore there's nothing left to do. So these are just little tips that I have found in the past that work for sellers, and it just makes their lives so much easier. If you were to be the type, if you're a single person or a married couple who you get up in the morning and you're gone all day, then you have your kit in your cabinet. After you're done getting ready and you're leaving for the day, just wipe everything down so it's picture perfect. And then when you come back in the evening, you can kind of relax a little and you don't really have people in and out of your house all day disrupting you if you're working at home or if you're a stay-at-home mom. But yeah, I technically have two more. I can't help myself. The number 6 would be to know your costs. And what that means is to know what you owe to the bank, what your closing costs will be. That includes real estate commission, HOA dues, if you have any liens on the property, maybe how much money you've put into the house, just anything financially that is information that belongs to the house, because these are important things for you to know, for you to just, I guess I could make this much. It's like not the best way to go about it. Like I'm sure for some of us Sagittarius, it would probably be more how I am. Like whoever I'm married to or dating would have to be like, okay, we're going to put your feet on the ground and we're going to make sure that you know every single number, which is where an Excel spreadsheet comes in. So maybe get yourself one of those and start mapping everything out so you have an idea. Property taxes, HOA, mortgage, just anything that you need to know, I think is going to be very beneficial, because then you'll know what you need to net in order to make this happen. Nobody wants to lose money when selling a house, but you don't know if you're losing money if you only have a ballpark. It's not until you have like the details, the nitty gritty nooks and crannies of the transaction that you will know what the numbers are. So that's number 6. And last but not least, it's going to be number 7, a pre-listing inspection. So I do recommend this, and most people don't. Most people don't get a pre-inspection, at least the people that I work with. And there's nothing wrong with that. What it does is it mitigates any future problems. So when the inspection report comes in from the buyer, the seller is prepared. The seller is not blindsided by roofing issues or plumbing issues or something major, because they've already had the inspection done. And yes, it's going to be $400 to $800 depending on the size of your house and how much your inspector costs, maybe more. But at the same time, like, you are prepared, you got the inspection, you can take care of the deferred maintenance, the items that just like maybe you've been neglecting because we get comfortable in our own houses and we don't mind looking at it, or it really didn't bother us. So just at least take care of the what meets the eye issues. If you decide to get a home inspection prior to listing it, you do have a little bit of an advantage because you go into the negotiation knowing exactly what's in the house, and there's no question, and you're not surprised, and you don't feel bombarded or bamboozled that like these buyers are trying to either get more money out of you or have these things fixed even though they're working. Just if you educate yourself up front, you just kind of got to rip the Band-Aid off, pay the money, get the inspection done, like prepare yourself for what could be found in the inspection. And then when you go into the transaction, there's no surprises. So those are my 7 tips. Since I said 5 to 6, I gave you a couple bonus in there. So those are my 7 tips for sellers. If you have any questions, I'm always happy to speak with you, to answer questions. There's a million things you can do to prepare a listing. These are just things that are going to make it a little bit easier for you, since this is a very overwhelming transaction and process, and especially if it's your first time and you're living in the house, there's a lot of layers here, and if I can help with any of that, I would like to. So again, my name is Lauren House, and I am available for questions. I'm available for conversations. I work in Scottsdale, Arizona, pretty much covering Maricopa County. I go everywhere. So that is it. Thank you so much for joining. Again, my name is Lauren House. I'm Beyond the House on the Social Nostra Network. Thank you.